Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review of one of my favorite motorcycle tires, and that's the Metzeler 6 Days Extreme Enduro tire. So this is Metzeler's tried and true tire. They've won a ton of awards with this thing. They developed it with and for professional endurocross riders, and for that reason it remains the favorite tire of a lot of endurocross riders to this day. So I've run about a dozen sets of these tires now over the last 3 or 4 years. A good friend of mine turned me on to them, and since I started, I really haven't used anything else, and I haven't really wanted to. I mean, these perform so well across the board that I haven't really felt the need to try anything else. I'm not being paid by anybody to do this review. I'm doing it because I've run so many sets of these now that this has become a tire that I really do believe is one of the best. And if you haven't tried it, you should definitely at least try out a set. So let's talk about price real quick. For this tire, you're looking to spend about 90 to 100 bucks for the front tire, and then about 100 to 110 bucks for the rear tire. They're definitely not the cheapest tire out there, but they are definitely worth the money in my opinion. If you are looking to buy a set of these, you should definitely check out the affiliate link in the description below. The money that comes from any purchases that are made through that link go to help support this channel and also help us make more videos like this one. Before we jump into that, I just want to note the kind of terrain that I'm riding on. I live out in Southern California, and we have a wide range of different terrain options out here. We have everything from really dry, rocky desert to really dry, sandy desert. We also have the mountainous regions, which can be anything from snow-covered to dry and dusty. We also have the kind of surrounding foothills in this area, which offer really kind of silty, steep, big hill climbs. And in that area, you can also get really wet, soppy, muddy terrain. So what I look for in a motorcycle tire is just really a tire that can perform across the board in any kind of terrain. Another really important thing about my experience with this tire is I am using the tubeless system on the front and rear. I have used this tire without the tubeless system, and I can tell you it's not the same. It's still a great tire if you're using regular tubes, but if you're using the tubeless system, it's just a day and night difference. I also like to run my tires at 6 pounds in the front and 4 pounds in the rear. It's just enough so that you get some rim protection, but it's soft and supple enough that you get really good traction too. So let's talk about tire sizes real quick. Metzeler offers a pretty wide range of options. There is a 90-90-21 front tire and a 90-100-21 front tire. The rear tire offers a 120-90-18, a 130-90-18, and a 140-80-18. They're all enduro tires. They don't offer a 19-inch rim size rear tire because, like I said, this is purely designed for enduro riding. For myself personally, on the rear tire, I always go with the 140-80-18 because it's a little bit wider and offers a little bit better flotation and softer terrains. And for the front tire, I always go with the 90-90-21. So let's jump into some of the benefits of this tire real quick. One of the big things is that this is a DOT approved tire, so if you live in a state where that may be an issue, you will have the benefit of having a tire that you can ride on the road with legally. So this is a smooth contour design tire, which lends to there being more knobs under the footprint when you're trying to make traction, and it also helps the tire wear more evenly and be more resilient. One of the things you'll notice about this tire is that the knobs are spaced pretty far apart. And the nice thing about that is that the tire doesn't really clog up in really muddy situations. With a lot of like closer packed tires like the Maxxis Desert IT tires or something like that, if you try to use those in a muddy situation, they'll just pack up and you'll basically be riding on slicks. One of the best features about this tire is the mid-cornering traction and the turning stability, and that's really due to this set of 3 knobs here. This thing, from my experience, has been one of the best tires when it comes to a whole host of different things. Getting into a corner and powering out of it, it doesn't try to wash out on you. If you're riding on double track that's all rutted out, the tire won't always try to find the lowest point in the road. It really can stick and find the high points. You don't have to worry about your tire washing out on you. On hill climbs, even if if you're going up a hill climb and there's a jog and then it straightens back out and you have to turn a little bit and then kind of straighten up back up the hill, it's not always trying to like wash out on you. That's probably one of the biggest features of this tire that makes it such a good performer. The cool thing about this tire in particular is that they make different compounds. So they make a hard, which is this tire. They make a soft and a super soft. With this one, you know, the knobs, they're pretty hard. And here in California, like I said, it's really dry. And for that reason, I like a tire that can hold up to a little bit rougher terrain. There's also a lot of rocks and stuff out here. And especially if I'm out in the desert, it's really chews this tire up. And it would any tire. I mean, it's so rocky and so rough out there that, you know, if you try any tire that's softer than this on that terrain, it's just going to eat it for lunch. But if you are riding in an area that has, you know, softer terrain, or maybe you're riding on smoother rocks and they're not so jagged and they're not going to be as likely to rip the knobs off, you might be considering a softer compound tire that will work better for you. But it still offers the same knob layout and the features of this same tire. They just won't be as puncture resistant, the Carcass won't be, and the knobs won't last quite as long. What I found with this set of tires is that if you're riding in rough desert terrain, you will wind up punching holes in the carcass of the tire eventually. The front tire Carcass is substantially softer than the rear tire Carcass. I've never had an issue with the rear tire, but I've had on a couple of different occasions had trouble with the front tire Carcass where a stick will get punched through it or something like that, and it leaves me in a situation where I have to ride with a flat tire, which isn't a problem because I am running the tubeless system and there is slime in the tire. So for 99% of the holes in the tire Carcass that I do have, the slime just fills that. And what I've started doing is I carry car tire plugs that allow me to plug any holes in the carcass of the tire, and that works fine. It just seals up and then the slime takes up any smaller holes. Since I am running the tubeless system, when you think about, you know, the fact that you can run such low air pressure, the Carcass on the sidewall of the tire really takes a lot of abuse because it's really just, you know, almost folding over. It's being compressed so much on every single rotation of the tire. The elasticity of the sidewall really it's getting an exercise. And I found one of the nice things, at least for this tire, is that I've never had any kind of issues along the sidewall with any kind of separating or any kind of issues there, at least not in the life of the tire. So I love the way that the knobs are set up on this tire. First off, this is a directional tire. The tire rotates this way. Obviously you have a wide bar, narrow bar, wide bar, and then you've got your side knobs that are a set of 3 on each side, and that pattern is consistent the whole way around, so you get really consistent and reliable traction. It's not a staggered knob pattern. The cool thing about it, you know, you get a lot of straight driving traction from these 3 knobs, but what you also get, especially when you're riding the tubeless system and you have lower air pressure, the knob pattern is a lot more flat. The tire is probably more like that wide, the footprint of it. But what you get with these 3 knobs is really just it's a cup, right? You're getting these 3 knobs just shoveling dirt in, and it's maximizing the effectiveness of this knob. Along that same line of thinking, I think what happens, especially if you have any kind of wheel spin and you're in a corner, these 3 knobs are really just kind of a wing, right? They're scooping and kind of almost dragging the bike in and more centering it up rather than letting it wash out. So with the front tire, again, what you have is a consistent pattern. You've got a narrow knob, wide knob, narrow knob, and then a staggered knob pattern here on the side. And it's like that all the way around. These tires, like I said earlier, they don't wash out. They're really good in the corners. And I think what it is, you know, again, you have a wide knob spacing, and then you've got these kind of end caps, which really kind of capture the dirt in between these 2 main knobs and keep the bike from basically skidding sideways one way or the other. So you may have guessed by now that the thing that I really like about a good set of motorcycle tires is the mid-cornering traction and turning stability. I hate it when a tire falls into a rut or can't climb out of a hole or always seems to find the low point. I don't like a set of tires that has straight knobs going across the tire. I've run a set of those before, and what I found was that every time without fail your tire was in a rut, or if you're doing a hill climb, the rear tire was always at the lowest point and the bike was pointing straight up the hill. You couldn't traverse in any way, and it was miserable. I couldn't do anything with those tires. But with these, what I found the biggest feature for me is the mid-cornering traction. It is the ability to traverse. It is the ability to accelerate out of a turn, and it is the feeling of confidence when you lean into a turn that your front and rear tires aren't going to wash out on you. So let's take a look at how these tires wear. This is on my bike right now, and yes, as you can see, I like to wear my tires all the way down to the bitter end. These tires are expensive enough, and you might as well get their full worth out of them. A couple of things to see. This knob you would think would wear down faster than the wider bar knob, which it does a little bit, but really it's not that bad. It's not dramatic difference there, and I think it's because it's being bridged by the side knobs here as well. These side knobs do obviously wear on the inside more than the outside, and that's just because I'm not spending as much time in the turns as I am just driving straight. As far as chunking, you can see, there's a little bit. The knobs are torn up in some places, and this tire has been used, in a wide range of terrains. I've done a bunch of riding this last season, and we did some in the desert, dry terrain, wet terrain, mountains, the whole gamut. And as far as, this is just regular wear. I wouldn't expect anything more of this tire. So let's go over how the front tire wears down real quick. First off, you can see that the wear on it is really even across all the knobs. You have the wider set and narrower set that really wear about the same, and a lot of times what I find with these split knobs is that they'll push apart on every single rotation, and they're soft enough that that additional scrubbing will cause it to wear down faster on the inside. But this tire, these knobs don't really have that problem. With the chunking, you do get some, especially out on these wider edge knobs, because they're taking a lot of the abuse there. They do rip off, but it's not like the entire knob is ripping off. And I think that's because with this tire, what you have, rather than the knob just coming straight out from the tire, you get kind of a buildup that supports the tire both, on these mid-cornering knobs and then these outer knobs here. With the tire plug here, I think this is more the exception than the rule. This is actually 3 tire plugs, and what happened was I would put a tire plug in and then the hole would just keep growing and ripping. So I'd put in another one, and eventually just got to the point where it wouldn't hold air anymore, which, like I said, is not common. I think this is just kind of a fluke that happened. It was a pretty large stick that got jammed through the carcass of the tire. Just so you can get an idea of the wear ratio, I probably replace my rear tire 2 or 3 times for every one front tire that I replace, and you can see this tire's got a lot more miles on it, but it's still wearing pretty well. There's definitely a functional amount of knobs left on here. So I think that pretty much sums up everything that I have to say about this tire. Like I said, I think this is probably one of the best enduro tires that's ever been made. And for the money, I think that it's definitely worth it. If you are looking to buy a set of these, obviously check out the affiliate link in the description below. You'll find these tires on Amazon for really the price that you can buy them anywhere else. And the money that comes from that really does help support us in building this channel. Obviously like this video and subscribe to our channel if you like the videos that we're putting out. We really appreciate it.